Something game changing just happened in the tech world, a huge shift that marks the first but not the last in state backing of tech companies in the Western world, right? So, this is not China backing their companies, this is America backing their tech companies. But most people completely missed the news, even if they are interested in economics and the Cold War, the second Cold War that we are in or moving into. It's a gray zone. It's a transitionary period. The U.S. government now owns 10% of Intel. You obviously have heard of the blue logo company. They make computer chips. You probably have an Intel label on your laptop or computer, even. America's biggest chip maker. That's what Intel is. And this changes everything in the globe spanning new Cold War race for dominance. This time, this Cold War, it's not who can collect the most nukes like Pokemon cards or build the biggest ones. It's about who can build the most chips, computer chips. Who has the most computing power under its control, under their nation's control? The computer chips that power the digital world, the chips that power AI. Here's why all this matters more than you may think initially. Just days ago, President Trump announced that Intel's CEO agreed to hand over a 10% stake worth nearly $9 billion. Oh, to Washington. Oh, it's hot. That price tag. But it's a couple of dollars more than I have in my bank account. Let's just put it like that. Not a couple, a couple is two. But this wasn't just a business deal. This was America doubling down. This is doubling down. That's the animation for doubling down. What is this is America doubling down in the biggest technological war of our generation. The computing power arms race between the US and China is intensifying. So far, you see, the US has the lead, and it's a strong lead in computing power. America invented computers, essentially. We're not looking into the film um, The Imitation Game. We're not looking into that. I'm oversimplifying, but it's near enough to the truth to say America invented modern computing and computing power, the capacity. America set up the supply chain that has the modern Western world ahead of the rest of the world in computing power. American companies design the chips. Dutch ASML in the Netherlands makes the machines that build the chips, and TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation or something similar, in Taiwan actually builds the chips with the machines from the Netherlands and the designs from America. They build them in chip factories called fabricators, and America controls the supply to any nation they deem problematic. They can restrict it, they can put sanctions on those countries so that they can't get more chips than America permits. Right? Big Daddy is at the top. He decides what goes and what does not. China being one of those nations that have computer chips regularly restricted from them. So much so, you may have heard earlier that Nvidia has a very powerful AI chip called the H100. America said, too powerful for China, don't give it to them. You can't give it to them. Nvidia said, yes, master, of course. We are an American company. We must obey the supreme leader, Trumpy boy, or the Don Don. Or anyway, sorry, no more Trump nicknames. No more Trump nicknames. My point is, H100 chips got restricted, so Nvidia made a H20 chip that was restricted for a while, and then it was released again. Long story. Now China has quotas imposed on them for computer chips across the industry, across all kinds of digital devices or computing devices that need the chips in them. Limits to the best chips plague the Chinese state and the associated Chinese companies because America, as part of its attempt to stay ahead, must hobble the other guy. That's what an American official or an American expert in this industry said years ago. She said, we need to hobble China. That's part of the way we stay ahead. Hobble meaning, sort of make them run slower by chucking something at them. It reminds me of the dictator, where he starts the race, he's in the race, and he starts firing rounds at the people who are running alongside him. It's mad. Anyway, every smartphone. I think I need some more tea, guys. Every smartphone, every AI system, every military drone depends on advanced computer chips. And right now, there are only two players that really matter in this game: the US and China. So the US has the lead, yes, but while American companies like Intel and Nvidia lead in chip design, China has been rapidly catching up, right? And the Chinese state has been supporting their own Chinese companies in the catch up attempt. Chinese AI models like DeepSeek recently shocked the world by matching America's best AI systems while using only a fraction of the computing power. That's terrifying if you're sitting in Washington to see your enemies catching up and being able to progress in a way that doesn't require the amount of energy that you utilize. Right? So they're actually in some ways better than you. You're like, oh, better than us, America? I thought we're the best at everything. So so Trump did something that would have been unthinkable just years ago. The US government stepped in to private companies, just like how China has been doing for years. But America was like, "Oh, state-backed, boo! State-backed enterprises. You're skewing the market." Da 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 da. Well, America's like, "Yo, that actually works quite well. I'm gonna start doing that." It's about control, guys. Intel is one of the few companies that can manufacture the most advanced chips or design and produce some of the most advanced chips on US soil. And America already has a deal with TSMC, the Taiwanese chip giant, the fabricator, who are also building a factory in America to build chips. The US essentially is gearing up for decoupling from East Asia. By taking this stake, this share of Intel, Washington is essentially saying, we're not leaving our technological future to chance. We're not leaving the building of our critical computer components all the way in Taiwan because unification. The government feel the need to step in to maintain a lead over China, the lead they are slowly losing. We're going to directly invest in and guide companies that build the foundation of modern computing power because we feel we have to. Otherwise, I mean, China's catching up, right? So our companies to stay ahead need our state support. That's the American narrative, essentially. Or that's the American thinking. We're taking a leaf out of China's playbook to counter China. That's America's thinking. Beijing is now accelerating its own plans to become completely self sufficient in chip production. SMIC, which is China's essentially TSMC rival in the making, they're making strides, and East Asia looks nervously, of course, towards Ukraine. You're looking at South Korea with its Samsung. You're looking at Taiwan with its TSMC. You're looking at Japan with its companies. You're looking at Philippines with their companies. They're all looking towards Ukraine. Even American allies could end up leaning away from the US towards Zhongguo, China, right? They're all looking to Ukraine, seeing that, oh, US ally, being a US ally doesn't really mean the US will absolutely defend us. So maybe we should start taking alternative measures, preparing for the worst or preparing for other just press rewind. Maybe we should be considering alternatives where we align with China rather than the US if the need arises for the best interest of our states. That's what these East Asian, Western aligned nations may be considering. This is a brave new world we are all in. The Second Cold War, one where computing power, not nuclear weapons, determines who rules the world, for better or worse. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, I'm Mahfouz, and I shall see you on the next one. Keep thinking analytically, and NewsBaba will have you covered.